How's everyone doing? This is Dre, Recovery One Drones. I appreciate everybody coming in. Today is Sunday, May 25th. We hope everybody's enjoying the Memorial Day weekend. And just in case those of you who may not understand the difference between Memorial Day and Veterans Day or any other holiday that has been made to honor those who served, Memorial Day is for those who did not come home, who pretty much died in action or never been retrieved from the battlefront. So we want to always give honor and thanks for those whose shoulders that we all stand on. We stand on the shoulders of those who fought for our freedoms in all this nation's wars and future endeavors. So that's what Memorial Day is all about, for those who did not make it back. So we're going to go on from there. First of all, we're going to get one of our quick sponsors out. As you guys know, I'm a big advocate of Air Data. They do have a free account for those who are not sure that it may come in handy to you, but I'm sure everyone here who has had it can give you their own personal testimony of why it is worth its weight in gold.
Data. When your flight data matters.
All right. I see we got a few folks here. We go down the list. We got, I think Jody might have been the first one, or was it East Coast? I think it was Jody was first in the house. East Coast Thrills, Dom, Northside Hawk, Waypoint, New England. I think Tom might be on Facebook, Tom Dowling. He may be on the Facebook feed. I don't have any notes, or I should say chat from Facebook. I think my phone did chime in to say that he was logged in or something there. I could have, yeah, it just said I went live from there. Okay, so I saw a question already. This is going to be a kind of like question and answer type thing. Just to let somebody know. Who is that? Waypoint. No, I do not have the Mavic 4, nor do I intend to buy one anytime soon. And I'm just going to explain some things as the hoopla, the hype, all the things that we get about when DJI throws something out the door. We all act like a pack of wild dogs who haven't been fed in a month. Can't wait to get our hands on it. We are trying to find every trick in the book to get our hands on it and search every nook, cranny, and wherever else to find the money to buy them and everything else. Every product they put out, DJI puts out, is top tier. And as one thing we have to all admit, it is top tier, regardless if it's the Nano for 199 bucks, all the way up to the agricultural drones, the T50s and whatever. All their equipment is top tier. Whatever classification that you may fly is going to be one of the leading drones in that classification. Like I said, if you fly the Nano, it's probably one of the best $199 drones out there. Same thing with the rest of the minis and everything else they have put out over the last, we can safely say, last decade now. It's 2025. And DJI has methodically and remained on top through all these years. There's been a few close competitors, but all in all, they seem to always come ahead of the pack. And we always got to remember, DJI just doesn't sell drones. They sell a ton of equipment that is audio or video related, from gimbals to professional camera, we call it relay systems and so forth. They're there. And like I say, a year ago, they jumped on the bandwagon with the power systems that I even have a set, the Power 1000 and 2000. So wherever they go, you know it's going to be a quality and top of the line product. Now the reason why I put out the information about the Mavic 4 Pro, because always when something new comes out, we get a lot of reviewers, we get a lot of people who state a lot of claims of what these drones can do and so on and so forth. And I don't want to be the one that nitpicks or whatever, but I hate to see, especially with the amount of money that we're paying for these drones nowadays, especially for you guys who are recreational flyers. This is not, $400 or $500. This is up there. The Mavic 4 Pro. Good evening, Cool Cat. Mavic 4 Pro is somewhere north, pretty much 3,500 and going up. Average cost nowadays here in the U.S., it will tip over $4,000. So this is not like no big deal unless you just got extra money like that to throw around. Maybe it is no big deal for you. But I know most people, this is a buying decision that has to be contemplated. It's just not rolling over to the Amazon site and clicking the buy button. You might put it in your cart, but you might go back and take it out your cart. So like I say, and I saw this coming a couple years back, starting with the Mavic 2 Pro. The pricing of that, the Mavic 3. People were worried about the Mavic 3, and now we're sitting at the Mavic 4. So, and the pricing has gone up on an average anywhere between $800 to $1,000 for each iteration since the Mavic 2 Pro. Mavic 3 Pro came out, it was right around $2,500 and change until they came out with the Classic, which was the bare bones version, and now here we are with the Mavic 4 Pro. So there may be a stripped down version. Who knows what may happen. Right now, to put it in, I believe the boys in New York City the DJI, I don't know if it's official DJI drone store, but the drone store that had a few units in New York City probably pulled off the biggest coup in drone history. And I can just give them a tip of the cap because it was put out by multiple reviewers, even by DJI themselves, that the Mavic 4 Pro was not to be sold in the US. So somebody knew somebody. That's how that usually happens. Somebody knew somebody, was able to get those in stock, because on the day of the release, that store had several units to deliver for those who had the money or means to purchase it. So I can just say, like I said, tip of the cap to those folks, most definitely. All right, so let's go deep into what the Mavic 4 Pro is all about, because that's what I like to do is find out, for all this money that people are going to be spending, how much new technology are you getting? So what I did was I pulled up the spec sheet on the Mavic 4 Pro, and once I read it, I said, let me go back and pull up the spec sheet of the Mavic 2 Pro. And so let's see how far advanced the Mavic 4 Pro is over the Mavic 2 Pro. This is 2 generations back. And there was one glaring thing that jumped out at me, because I know there's a host of people who like to tinker with their footage. So let's go right now, and we're going to jump into the Mavic 4 Pro. Okay. Starting right here, the Mavic 4 Pro and its specs. And we're going to hope everybody can see that. We're going to bring it in a little better. The weight, no big deal. We all know it's a big drone. It's probably one of the heaviest drones since the Phantom 4 series. Okay. The max speed, as far as how it sends or whatever, it's pretty much on norm. It's not some super speeds or anything like that, but it's within the margins of what its previous version was, the Mavic 3 Pro. All right, let's go down here. The flight time, 51 minutes, and like I said, it's getting better and better. I like to see, it even says here, hovering time is down to 45 minutes. So that's a 6 minutes in difference. And I can see what actual field work, where somebody has it in the field, and what they're actually getting from takeoff to about, I always say from 100%, and you bring it back at 30%, and how much flight time are you actually getting? Because that's pretty much what the standard procedures are from the manufacturers. Return your drone back at about 30% battery life, even though others stretch it a lot further than that. Okay. As far as distance, how far it can go out, I don't even get interested in that kind of stuff, because here in the U.S., we're bound by line of sight. So who cares if it flies 5 miles or 55 miles away? If you can't see it, you're violating rules and regulations. Period. Unless you got a waiver. So that's that. So I don't even worry about the flight distance. Let me go back here. There's another guy that was talking about, one of the reviewers, and he was saying it had 4 sets of GNSS systems, but it doesn't. It only works off 3: standard US GPS, the Galileo, and the Baidu. It doesn't even have GLONASS anymore. And GLONASS was pretty much the most dominant GNSS system, as far as the Soviets had more satellites than anybody else combined. So GLONASS has been dropped off the last 2 iterations. The Mavic 3 Pro and now the Mavic 4 does not support GLONASS anymore. I think you have to go back to the Mavic 2 Pro to get GLONASS, and it only has the GPS and GLONASS. Didn't have Galileo or the Baidu. So that's that. And like I said, if you hear somebody talking about it has 4 systems of GNSS. And the reason why I bring this up, because I had a reviewer who was trying to tell people that even without RTK, is that this new Mavic 4 Pro is as accurate as drones with RTK because of the updated GPS chip in it. And I said, well, I had to challenge him on that. And like I say, you only got 3 systems. If it would have had GLONASS, I might have been a little more believable. But with lack of GLONASS, which is the most populated system in our space, you're just not going to be able to get past RTK systems. Okay. Now, let's go down here. And internal storage, which has always been a big thing. You can get the Mavic 4 Pro starting with 64 gigs. Has on board. I guess available space with that would be 42 gig. You can go up to 512 with the Creator combo. And there's a reason for that, is because of the speed that the built-in memory storage can write to. There's not a SD card that writes as fast as the built-in storage on the drone itself. Now, this is what caught my attention a little bit, and I'm not going to give it away right away. Talk about the cameras. The main camera, Hasselblad 4/3 CMOS effective pixels, 100 megapixels, which is awesome, very awesome. The tele camera, 1/1/3 CMOS, 48 megapixels, and the telezoom camera, 1/1/5 inch CMOS effective pixels, 50 megapixels. Okay, which is great. The one nice thing here, which I'm glad they jumped on this, was with the main camera, it is an adjustable aperture. Starts at a 2.0 and goes up to 11. Okay, from there. I'm not really concerned with the medium, and I mean, it's got 3 cameras, so they're going to be a 70 millimeter and 168 millimeter. It all depends if you have a need for those type of cameras. It's always nice to have something and already have it, and then not have it and need it. So you can't argue with that. Okay. So we go down here. This was kind of, what was it at? I saw. Okay, let me slide down here a little bit. Get what I kind of caught my attention, I should say. Yeah, right here. Camera. I was expecting this camera to be 12-bit or higher, you know, and it's still 10-bit, 4.2.2, which is great, and 10-bit, 8-bit standard, 10-bit, 10-bit, all that, and the same thing for the rest of the camera. I was expecting higher color. 10-bit is great, but as we go on here, we'll see that's been, you know, around for a while. So let me bring up the good old trusty, let me bring this up the way I want to. There we go. Let's bring this up here. This is the Mavic 2 Pro specification. Now, the Mavic 2 Pro came out in what, 2017, I believe? The Mavic 2 Pro, 2017. I believe that's when it came out. I know I bought my first one in 2018. And we see the 1-inch CMOS there. Adjustable aperture from 2.8 to 11. No problem there. So I'm going to scroll down here, and this is what I said before about the difference. Still photography modes. You got your single shot, burst modes, you know, all this kind of stuff here. But what you don't see on the Mavic 4 Pro is RAW. The Mavic 4 Pro does not shoot in RAW. So that is a issue for, I know a lot of folks like I say, like to dabble with their photography and video footage. A lot of you folks, you know, have DaVinci and Adobe Premiere and other things that allow you to manipulate your shots and everything else. but the Mavic 4 Pro doesn't give you raw footage to better do that, to line it all up. It shoots just in JPEG. So that could be a issue for some folks who think they're going to get some pictures and be able to play paint by the numbers, as I call it, and change it, enhance it, or whatever, because the JPEG picture is going to be about as good as it is. I mean, for what I've seen of people's shots and what I hear from other people who have the drone, not just reviewers or whatever, people who actually own the drone, it produces awesome pictures. The Mavic 4 Pro does. But if you didn't get the right shot, you didn't get the right angle, the sun was in you were in a different angle from the sunshine, you can't really make as much corrections in post like you could with an older drone. You gotta be spot on because it doesn't shoot raw. Okay. And this is what I was talking about here, color mode. You know, the D-Log M. This is the Mavic 2 Pro, 2017, 10-bit in D-Log, and it shoots. Like I said, because I remember one of my very first jobs I had shooting down at the campus of USC. They were building more student housing, and I had to shoot everything in RAW. And that's what caught me. And they said RAW, and they wanted in 10-bit. So I said, okay. And that's one of the reasons why I bought the Mavic 2 Pro, because I knew that was one step off from shooting in ProRes and everything else, was to be able to shoot in 10-bit D-Log. So that's where I would say the Mavic 4 Pro, as awesome as it is, it left out that part, so to speak. So I thought that was very interesting. It left out that part right there. Since we know about that, charge it. So that was one of the big things that jumped out. Two things that jumped out was the discrepancy in the the GNSS system, based upon what this reviewer was stating. And then he tried to accuse me, well, didn't you watch the video? I said, yeah, I watched your video, because he was actually trying to state two things. He was trying to state that it had a mechanical shutter, which it does not. And he was trying to say, well, the shutter, because he could see the actual, I guess he claims he could see the actual lens pieces closed. He said almost closes. I said almost is not mechanical shutter. Mechanical shutter is just what it is, a mechanical shutter that shuts completely, stops all light coming through, excuse me, at a fraction of a second, and opens back up. So you get that immediate freeze of everything in the picture frame. You know, like I say, it has an electronic shutter, and its electronic shutter, as I see right here, is no faster than what was on the Mavic 2 Pro. It may have it may have a faster processor, but actual, I say measurements, it is not really much faster than what's on the Mavic 2 Pro. And it's electronic shutter. So that's where we're at on that part right there. So this is why I always tell people, don't always, I won't say don't believe the hype, but check out what the hype is. And actually look at, otherwise you say, look under the hood and see what drives that vehicle and compare it. Because this is real money on the table. This is not some, fly-by-night deal. This is real money on the table that you're going to need, that you're going to want to keep in your pocket and not just throw away on something else, And that's why, I don't badmouth the newer drones that are out there, but everybody has the same issues. Well, I want to get one, but it's so expensive. And then you get a lot of new people who want to go out. And they say, well, I'm studying for my Part 107. Hey, 107 drones. Hey, Lance, Fly Garamero. You get a lot of new people who want to get into the business. They're studying for their Part 107, and they say, well, what's the best drone to buy? And that's why I tell Fly, I say, well, until you find out what you want to do with your Part 107, are you going to do just residential real estate? Are you going to plan on trying to do construction work, pipeline work, and basically industry type work, telecom work? There are certain drones that may be better suited for those type of tasks than other drones. And that's what I always kind of caution folks that, and I even challenge some reviewers out there. And I say, why would you tell people getting XYZ drone would be the best option for them just because of the price factor? And I said, I always tell people, I said, when you use certain terminology, when you start talking about mapping, survey level results, I said it's kind of hard to sell people on something like that when the drone doesn't use RTK, or like on most jobs, if you look on job boards from ZView, wherever they are, to Droners.io, to Fly Guys, to Trace Air, any number, what's that one, Drone Hive, Bees 360, I get calls from a lot of these people, and I always see the most consistent thing is when they tell you what drone that you have to use, they don't tell you the actual name of the drone. They just give you a specification. Drone must be at least a 1-inch CMOS sensor, 20 megapixel, as far as what the camera can produce. All right. That eliminates a lot of stuff. And I hear people talk about, well, yeah, my client, I did it with this, I did it with the Mini 2, I did it with the Mini 3, Mini 4. And I always tell them, I say, if your client is satisfied with that level of work, bless his heart. But I tell you, from being in the industry, when you start bringing in scans, and that's what the terminology they may use it, when you go out and mapping, they may call it a scan, and they're bringing that before other engineers, other surveyors, and they're going to look at this and they say, what is this? What was this, based off of? Is this PPK? Is this supposed to be RTK? Because they say this don't look like nothing that we produced or we can use. So that's why I tell people, be cautious on what you say you can do or what you think your drone can do. Because one of the things that makes me laugh so much is when I hear somebody in the forum groups or whatever asking somebody, hey, anybody got a blah 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 drone that I can use? And I keep asking, I said, why do you need to use a drone? And did you took a job that you didn't have a drone that can complete the job? It's one thing to travel and you just don't want to get the batteries there. I can understand that part because I've been contacted by people with my M30T because the batteries are so large, they may not be able to get them through flying, to TSA or whatever. So I know people who had to store batteries in different locations, that when they travel, they have a set of batteries they keep in one location. If they do a lot of traveling in that area for their drones, and you keep another set at home. That's just the way they got to do it, because it is tough trying to transport batteries of those sizes going through TSA and all that kind of stuff. And it gets very expensive sending stuff to UPS or the post office to get to another location, so you can get when your batteries will be there when you get there. So I always got a question when people ask about. I remember one guy asked me, could he use my Mavic 3M? And I told the guy, I said, yeah, $5,000 you can use it. And he says, why so high? I said, because if you screw it up, I'm gonna need to buy another one. That's just common sense to me. There you go, Barkley. The problem is when a drone pilot uses a consumer level drone, when the job calls for an enterprise level drone. And that's what I'm saying. This is the problem is when we have people in the industry putting this information out there that, oh yeah, you can go do this with a mini drone or that drone. And I'm like, that's not what the specs call for, you know. And that's why I tell folks, do good work. Good work helps you, and it helps the industry. Because the worst thing that can happen is this might be one of your first jobs, and it also may be one of the first times this client is using a drone. And like I say, by you not having the right drone or not producing the right product, now you left a bad taste in that client's mouth, and he may never want to go near drones again because he's going to feel like it was a waste of his time, waste of his money. And that's why it's important to make sure you understand what drone you have, what it's capable of doing. And that's why I say about the Mavic 4 Pro, it is a outstanding drone. And if you're doing this residential real estate, it probably knock it out of the park. Guarantee knock it out of the park all day long. But as we have seen over the last, I'd say 3 years, especially with real estate, I should say residential real estate, it's more about video production now. It's not just still shots of a house sitting on the neighborhood, you know. And most of us in here that are listening, me first right now, see the work that Dobo does. Drone shots are not even primary anymore. That's B-roll for him now. His work is done inside the house, getting a nice flow through the house, getting nice shots with a FX, Sony FX and other cameras he may use to really make that house pop. That is where residential real estate is going. I should say that's where it's at on that level. You'll get more work opportunities doing what I do as far as commercial real estate work or doing mapping, photogrammetry type work. But like I said, it takes certain type of drones to do that, and also it may take even additional equipment to be able to continue to work in that area. And that's where you can build yourself. So a lot of times I always tell people, you got to have a sit down with yourself and ask you, what's the best opportunities in my area? Because I always hear people talk about all these different brokers and stuff, and they says, oh, I'm with Fly Guys, but I never got any work with them. Well, I've been with Drone Hive, and they never call me, or ZetView, and I never get a call in my area. And I hear other people getting calls all the time. So that's part of doing your homework, is to find out what type of work is being sought after in your area. And that's why I tell people the same story. For me, I knew solar was going to be a big thing because of the laws that were changing here in California about requiring developers and builders that after so many houses, you have to put solar on the roof. It is a requirement in the building code here in California. So with that in mind, and also you're looking at a state that has probably close to 300 days of sunshine, that solar on warehouses, which is the main thing I get done now. I've done most of the Amazons in my area, from Banning, California, all the way out to Ontario, Temecula, High Desert. Just about all the Amazon facilities I've flown to do solar inspections. And even cities themselves are building solar farms to offset the cost of city utility costs. You know, so these are things in my area that are booming, and there's jobs available. Everything from like I say, the big corporations to smaller organizations to residential houses. everybody's jumping on the solar bandwagon. And that's probably from California, Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, the Southwest, because of the amount of days of sunshine. It's just a no-brainer. And just like I know places coming down, I forgot what they call it, but there's a natural wind draft that comes down through the Dakotas, Iowa, and the other places in that area where wind blows constantly. So they're able to get those turbines going. Just like we have certain areas down near Palm Springs, same thing here. We have those wind turbines, and guess what? It is easier to get a drone up and more safe to get a drone up than it is to put a human being up there on a frequent basis. You can get an idea of what's going on with a drone than anything else. Well, let me take a quick break. We're going to go to my second sponsor, and you all know who they are.
The best. You have to train with the best. Pilot Institute.
All righty. So there we go, Pilot Institute. I know a lot of folks sign up for them, and there's a lot of schools out there. So once again, make sure you do your homework. Find out who has I would say it's always the best, but who has a product that's going to allow you to learn what you need to learn to pass the Part 107. Like I say, I'm old school. Before Pilot Institute was known and all these other places, I had to order books off Amazon back in 2017, 2018, I think it was. Ordered the books. I studied all of my own, not having a clue. I took the tests in 2019, passed the test, and been going forward since then. So, like I say, to each its own. Like I say, I wish there was programs like Pilot Institute and others where I can videotape all that kind of stuff, because I'm a visual learner. If I see it, I can learn it real quick and it sticks with me. For me to read something, I have to read it maybe twice at least, maybe 3 times to really comprehend, for it to sink in, for me to know it. So if you're looking to get into the commercial aspects of being a drone pilot, drone business operator, whatever the case may be, you can, like I say, me, I do it as part of my job for the city I work for, and I have my own business on the side. So I'm constantly flying for a lot of different reasons. As you've seen some of my videos, it may be a park project, it may be an accident, city vehicle accident. I go out and I take pictures from the ground, and I get the drone up and take an overall shot of wherever that accident is. So when we have our safety board meetings, we have a complete mock-up of what the day was, what the traffic situation was, everything else. I get called out as soon as the accident happens, and I'm usually there to respond within 10 to 15 minutes. So that's how that happens. And like I said, any claims against the city, trip and fall claims, stuff like that, I get them all the time. I get people talking about, oh, I was walking down the street, tripped and fell, chipped my tooth, broke my elbow, all this kind of stuff, and now I'm going to sue the city because you guys failed to maintain the road. I go out there, take ground shot pictures, take aerial pictures when needed, even got tape measure, because I had one guy talking about the curb was overly high. He tried to say the curb was 11 inches high. I had to go out there, take pictures with tape measure, and said the curb face was only 8 inches high, which is standard for type A type curb. So he was trying to say the city was negligent in allowing this curb to be built out of compliance. So that's why I tell people there are a lot of things that you can do with drones as a tool. Just not the fact that you fly. Like for me, I started off with as my inspection work, and I say right now I do investigation work with it. I do this progress of what other activities that we have going in the city, and my own business of doing solar work on different companies, and doing mapping, photogrammetry type work. So like I said, you got to do your homework in your area on what is taking place. Waypoint is tougher to find any place to park and Fall River being taken to yeah. But that's why I encourage anyone who wants to get into this, if you have a real passion for it, because most people who've been doing it for a while, they will tell you it's feast or famine. There might be a time that it's like every time you wake up, you're stumbling over a job, and there might be a time you feel like, man, I need to get on public assistance because I'm starving. I'm seriously starving out here for some work. So you got to know what's going on in your area. There's no use buying, I would say, thermal drones if you live, where area they're not doing solar work, unless you're going to go out and do search and rescue. You got, that's what I said, because buying thermal drones is not cheap. You're starting off between 4,500 and going north buying a thermal drone. So that's why I ask people, I said, why do you want a thermal drone? Are you plan on doing search and rescue? Are you plan on doing solar? Are you plan on doing some type of agricultural work where you can get the multi-spectrum drone? And the next thing I tell people, I said, you need to go out and get your certification. Get at least a Cat 1 so you will understand what is needed when it comes to thermal work. You will need to understand what you are looking for. Everybody talks about certain things. I said, even when it comes to thermal work, there's different type of work that is out there for thermal drones. Regular roofing work is not the same thing as looking for HVAC leaks. It's not the same as doing solar. So that's why you have a wide variety of palettes, which is the color gradients that you can use to do certain jobs. I've heard people get on here and they look at some of the videos I put out and they say, well, you got to wait until an hour, after sunrise or before or after sunset, right before. I said, you don't even know what I was looking for. So how are you going to dictate to me, what I should have been doing when you don't even know what the requirements of the job is? Hey, how you doing, Rich? Good to see you in here. And I tell people all the time, I said, 9 times out of 10, the client is going to tell you what they want and how they want it and when they want it. So the real thing as you as a pilot is basically state that the day of the flight, you are still the pilot in command. And you will make that decision to fly or not to fly based on weather, based on airspace, and any other factors that involves your actual flight. As far as what they want you to look for, that's what the client dictates to you for. That's why they hired you for. They want you to go do this, and that. Okay? What time of day? If you guys have done it before, if you've done real estate, especially this I call beauty shots, they're going to want you out there between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m. when the sun is straight high in the sky. That way they don't want shadows. Shadows look nice for pretty pictures, for sunrises and sunsets, but for real estate work, they don't want shadows. Okay, shadows is not what they really want. Those are what called sexy shots. They don't want a whole lot of shadow work, because that gives other people a suspicious thought that what are you trying to hide in the shadows? Okay, so a lot of time, like I tell people all the time, your clients are going to set parameters for you. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to say, "Hey, we're going to hire you because you're a drone pilot, and we're just going to tell you go out there and bring us back something." They're going to have somebody who's going to be able to tell you what they want, how they want it, when they want it, and go from there. So I've been renting and rapping here for about 45 minutes. I'm about to close it up because I think Paul Legendbig, I don't know if he's come on tonight or not, but I'm not going to step on his time. But I just want to go over a few things about the Mavic 4 Pro. And like I tell everybody else, look under the hood. When you go out and buy a car, you kick tires, you check the internet, you look under the hood, you do everything you can to make sure you're not getting ripped off. But I say the same thing with drones. Don't let all these influencers out there, you know, blow your head up with all this hype, and then when you get the product, you feel like, I thought it was supposed to do this. I thought it was supposed to do that. All the information is out there, and all I tell you is compare, so you're not caught off guard or feel like you just got ripped off for about $4 grand and some change. Because between tariffs being tacked on and everything else, and even if you even get it delivered through customs, you want to make sure you pay you know, your good hard-earned money was worth it, worth this effort. So, like I say, once again, say hi to Rich. Rich does a company in Arizona. He does work like I do. He does a lot of housing developments, and he can tell you like I can. He does quite a few videos himself on the ongoings of his work, and he does also online classes. So you guys are looking at, and I always tell folks, look at people like Rich and myself to see the process. I know Lance, I got ticks here in my audio. I don't know where it's from, but I know it goes tick, 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 tick for some reason. But like I say, look at some of these people who do things in the field, okay? And then you take notes and you see what the process is. So you'll be able to understand how it actually gets done. So once again, this is Dre, Recover One Drones. As I always say, hang on, enjoy the ride, and please subscribe. Thank you.